We'll give it just one moment for people to come in from the waiting room. Good morning. This is an emergency hearing before the licensing board for the city of Boston. Today is Tuesday, January 19th, 2021. Today's hearing is being conducted pursuant to certain temporary amendments of the open meeting law. That is what allows us to meet virtually. Today's hearing is being recorded and will be posted to the City of Boston's website. Before I review some procedural matters, I will introduce Chairwoman Kathleen Joyce.
Good morning. My name is Kathleen Joyce. I'm chair of the licensing board, and today I'm joined by Commissioner Kiana Saxon and Commissioner Liam Curran.
Good morning.
Thank you, Chairwoman. As a reminder, please mute yourself unless you've been called upon or are testifying. I will read into the record the alleged incident and will ask if there's anyone present on behalf of the licensee. I will then ask if there's anyone present on behalf of the Boston Police Department. I will then ask if there's anyone present with personal knowledge of the alleged incident who wishes to testify. I will then swear all parties in. Please ensure your video is on. After that, the police report will be read into the testimony. The licensee will be allowed to make a statement, and then we will move to questions from the chairwoman and the commissioners. Calling West End Dining LLC, doing business as Causeway, located at 65 to 71 Causeway Street. The date of the incident is January 11th, 2021. The date of hearing notice was January 16th, 2021. This is a hearing regarding the failure to adhere to numerous COVID-19 related operational restrictions, including the mandatory 9:30 p.m. closing all patrons for on-premise consumption off of licensed premise by 10 p.m., the prohibitions of patrons at the licensed premise for more than 90 minutes, and permitting an illegality on the licensed premise. Is there anyone here on behalf of the licensee?
Yes, good morning. Attorney Carolyn Conway on behalf of the licensee. With us today is Tim McCaslin, who is the manager of the licensee.
Thank you. Who on behalf of the Boston Police Department will be testifying?
Sergeant Detective William Gallagher.
Thank you, Sergeant. Are there any other individuals present with personal knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify?
Mr. McCaslin is available to answer questions.
Thank you. Mr. McCaslin, could you please unmute yourself? We can't hear you.
Tim, unmute yourself.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Mr. McCaslin,
Tim McCaslin from Causeway Restaurant and Bar.
thank you. Please raise your right hand.
Tim, raise your right hand.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please raise your right hand. Do you
Tim
swear,
McCaslin. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Sergeant Detective, you can proceed with the police report.
Yes, Scott. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Sergeant Detective William Gallagher, Boston Police. Currently assigned licensed premise unit this morning. I'll be reading from a Boston Police incident report that I wrote on 1/16/2021 at 8:45 p.m. Sergeant Detective William Gallagher, Detective Eddie Hernandez, assigned to the licensed premise unit, conducted a licensed premise inspection of the Causeway at 65 Causeway Street, Boston. This inspection came about in part because of an incident that took place on 1/11/2021. Detectives were made aware that the premise hosted a private party on the evening of the 11th that started at approximately 6 p.m. and lasted till after midnight. The information on the event was supplied to the licensing unit by Detective Michael Shalok. He's the Victor 853, who was assigned to the SAU unit of the Boston Police Department. The witnesses and victim, who are known to the Commonwealth, relayed those facts to Detective Shalok. Security video of the evening of the 11th was supplied by the Causeway and is currently in the possession of the SAU unit. A Boston Police incident report number 212-002625 was written detailing the events that took place. Sergeant Gallagher and Detective Hernandez spoke to the manager of record, Tim McCaslin, on the 16th. Mr. McCaslin was aware of the incident and informed detectives that the Causeway did stay open late because of the game, which was a Celtics game. Detectives reiterated the importance of the governor's COVID-19 guidelines and strict adherence to them. As a result of this incident, Sergeant Detective Gallagher issued a licensed premise inspection notice to the Causeway for premise violation of COVID-19, operational restrictions and illegalities on premise. Premise open past 10 p.m., mandated closing hour, patrons on premise more than 90 minutes. The governor's and Boston Licensing Board guidelines. Mr. Tim McCaslin signed for and accepted the notice. Detectives provided Mr. McCaslin with notice of emergency licensing board hearing scheduled for 1/19/2021 at 11 a.m. Mr. McCaslin signed for and accepted the notice. I do have some evidence to present. One of them is a copy of the bill that night, and I want to draw attention to the timestamp of 11:12 p.m. that the credit card was signed out at, and it's a 2-page list of alcohol and food from that evening. Those essentially are the facts.
Thank you, Sergeant. Attorney Conway?
Sergeant, I noticed on the violation hearing that you noted that the licensee was cooperative with you with respect to this.
Yes, ma'am.
And is it also a fair statement to say, to your knowledge, that they've been cooperated with the other investigation that grew out of that night, the sexual assault?
They have.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have no further questions. First off, I'd like to, on behalf of the licensee, we'd like to apologize for being here at all and causing this. As the board will aware, early on, we had something with the DJ and a microphone, and we then afterwards took very serious steps with respect to the COVID-19. We have all the plexiglass up. We have a person walking around the bar with the regulations. This just happened to be a perfect storm of bad decisions and also a little bit of fighting for survival. This was a party that we knew everyone that was basically in this party. They were complying with separation and all of that there. They were not your average crowd. They were a little older crowd. And it wasn't the Celtics game. It was apparently the National College Football Championship that was on that night. And it just,
Attorney Conway, I'm going to interrupt you. I just want to go over some of the facts here. There's actually no reason why any of these, why we're here today, except for the actions of the licensee. The only reason why we're all in this hearing right now is because of the actions that the licensee has admitted to. So I'm going to go over them one more time. Are you aware that it's a public health crisis?
Yes, ma'am.
Tim?
Yes.
Are you aware that the manner in which you operated put your entire operation and your employees at risk and your license? I'm going to take that
Yes,
as you
ma'am.
do. You're aware that the actions you took on this night put the
Yes, ma'am.
livelihood of your employees and your annual license at risk. Are you aware of the mandatory closing hour
Yes, ma'am.
in the city of Boston?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're aware that patrons can only be on the premise for 90 minutes? And are you aware that the seating capacity inside your restaurant has to be at 25%? And that no private parties are allowed unless you shut down your restaurant? And in that case, you can only have 6 people.
Hello?
Am I-
Tim, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, sorry. I had a bad internet connection.
Okay. It's unfortunate there's an internet connection problem, but I understand those things happen. Are you aware of your actions that night put your patrons, your employees at risk
Yes,
and the
ma'am.
livelihood of your license?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't care about the perfect storm. I think the city and this licensing board has worked really, really hard to help our licensees. The public health crisis is out of our hands. The actions you took that night were egregious. And they posed a risk to our health and public safety.
We understand that.
Okay,
And-
I'm going to ask the executive secretary, is it possible for us to vote on this matter right now?
Yes, it is. If you would like to make a motion to vote on this matter during this hearing.
I'm going to ask if the other commissioners have any specific questions about the violation. the
I
alleged
actually
violations.
do. I want to know why, in a situation where it's limited to 90 minutes, why are you marketing events that surround sporting events that clearly are going to take more than 90 minutes?
Just to drive any kind of business we can and get in even for half of the game. If we can come in for the half the game or a quarter, just to drive any business possible. At this point,
Yeah, but you're not marketing half games. You're not saying come for the half.
no, I'm saying, and people know they can't stay for the whole game, obviously, but
Well, if you tell them to come for the game, how would they know they're not going to be able to stay for the whole game?
because they know the 90-minute rule.
Well, they seem to be in contradiction of each other, no?
Yeah,
And you
I'll stop advertising
and you had people there for the whole game.
for that game, yeah.
Yeah, so it seems to me your plan is to have people there the whole game and ignore the 90-minute rule.
No, just in that circumstance, which is a bad call on my part. I won't market the games anymore.
What about the Ravens game?
What about the Ravens games?
You marketed that as a come for the game as well.
Well, because we're a Ravens bar, so some of those guys will come for the first half and then leave.
It doesn't say come for the half.
Right.
How many people did you
So it
have?
doesn't sound like a mistake to me, sir.
No, I mean,
It sounds like a plan.
it's to drive any business I can for that hour and a half. Yes, but
Yeah,
I see your point. I see
It's
your
not your
point.
job to drive
I'll
the
stop.
bet beyond 90 minutes.
Right.
Every other restaurant in the city of Boston has to follow 90 minutes. What are they doing? You're taking from them, aren't you?
I'll stop advertising the games. I didn't see that side of it. I apologize.
You're just taking from every other restaurant in the city that's following 90 minutes.
Right.
I'm just curious, how many people did you have there that night?
There was 19 to 22 upstairs. That's it. The videos show that if you want the videos. All separated, all at the bar with plexiglass.
Are there any other questions?
Not for me, thank you.
Seeing none, Chairwoman Joyce, are you making a motion to vote on this matter today?
Yeah, I make a motion to vote on this alleged violation at this time.
Is there a second?
Yes, I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Seeing none opposed, the motion carries. Chairwoman Joyce?
Based on the totality of the circumstances, I find numerous violations of COVID-19 operational requirements. As I previously noted, the egregious nature of these violations poses a threat to public health and public safety. I vote to issue an indefinite suspension of this license effective immediately. Should this vote pass, the indefinite suspension will not be stayed pending any appeal at the ABCC. The board at its discretion may reconsider the indefinite suspension should the licensee submit a comprehensive plan in writing that demonstrates the ability and the willingness to operate in compliance.
I second.
Commissioner Saxon?
I agree. Yes.
This violation, the board has found a violation. This license has been ordered suspended immediately, indefinitely.
We'll submit the plan as soon as we possibly can.
All right, and not to open at all.
And you will be inspected.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Games are-